While your food is about to taste even worse. Do y'all think like food got worse, like fast food and everything? Low-key a little bit. The quality ever since past 2020, I feel like it just has been more fucked up. Except Taco Bell. No, because we have Cane's, so we good. Technic, stop talking about Cane's. Cane's was not included in this. Cane's that tastes like some chicken tenders they get shipped from the remnants of Tyson's chicken finger scraps. Y'all, if Cane's did not have cane sauce, nobody would be talking about Cane's. Let's be so for real. Better than KFC. KFC is better than Cane's. And it's not even close. Either way, I've been hearing though, like I see videos, like all the actual restaurants just get their food from like the same places though, right? Like fast food is unique because like they'll have factories that make that exact food. But like if you go to a restaurant sometimes and you get a cake, this and that, it's just like literally you're getting the same repackaged. You gotta go to like specific places. That's why I be going to food trucks, bro. Actually, they probably have the same. Popeyes is so good, but so unhealthy. What's like the most unhealthy fast food restaurants, but like you just love to eat that shit? I'm trying to think of like the most realistically unhealthy. Bro, you know what I didn't realize? Taco Bell. Taco Bell, you can get healthy options though. You can get healthy options. Okay, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I will say y'all, I got this one restaurant I ordered some shit. I got fried Twinkies. That might be my biggest back moment ever. Fried Twinkies with ice cream. And you know the worst part? It was delicious. Typical American, bro. It was delicious. It was beautiful. It was delectable. My God, I still remember the taste. The golden crisp of it after coming out of that peanut oil at 128 degrees Celsius, whatever the boiling point for frying is. It was beautiful. Okay, let's watch this.
If you think restaurant food is starting to taste the same, not only are you correct, you're actually onto something far worse than you might realize. No matter where you go nowadays, restaurant prices are rising and menus all look the same.
Yeah.
One reason is those restaurants are all owned by a few private equity-backed groups. But the truth is, they're not actually the
Funny thing is, too, McDonald's released like a new deal because nobody was buying McDonald's because it was too expensive. And they were talking about like, hey, welcome our new value meals or whatever. You can get a Big Mac, this and that for like an $8 meal. Which, don't get me wrong, it isn't bad, but like at a certain point, like that was the normal. Why are we celebrating it going back to normal? It was probably less than that, to be honest, back then. But like they're celebrating, talking about, oh, here's the new prices. We got value now. That was the price of regular meals back then. You're just taking it back to normal. $5 deal. Oh my God, bro. There was a point where you can get 2 McChickens, a large fry, and a drink for like $4. Good times, man. And then COVID came and we all got cooked. And we all got fried. And now we all hate each other. And now shit don't even taste the same. McDonald's don't even taste the same, man.
only ones you should blame here. Look, I know it's easy to blame them, but private equity has been in restaurants since the 90s, so why is it that only recently...
I still have $5
tastes
deals
like
here,
shit?
though.
The bigger problem is
you're lucky.
supply. A few companies control the supply of food to over 650,000 locations, from your local diner to that fancy white cloth dinner. So there's a good chance your favorite homemade dish at your neighborhood spot probably came from the same factory that's also increasingly supplying hospitals, prisons, and schools. As I reveal, it's creating an interesting paradox where mom and pop shops are disappearing and restaurants are becoming either low-tier slop bowls or high-end.
That's exactly why you ever see like one of those dingy restaurants and stuff that kind of looks random out the way, that always has the best food. Because it's probably the most natural. They're probably not getting it from there. Hey guys, Tom NFG here. You know, only half of you guys are subscribed and even less of you guys have noties on. I hate to be a burden, but you know, I really appreciate it if you hit that sub button and the little bell next to it. You know, it doesn't take long. I know you can get mixed up in the algorithm and everything. But yeah, also tune into the streams. You know, we have a lot of fun over there. I'm telling you, we have a lot of parties going on over there. Yeah, that's it. Bye. Damn. They're probably making it in-house and stuff like that. Bro, whenever I go to a Chinese spot, that shit gotta look like a little bit up, bro. So if it looks up, I know they're making it in-house. I know they probably got like a couple of their kids in there that are like 12 and 13 making the food as well. Probably just like want to play Fortnite or something, but like they're sitting there like doing hard work to make the food. They making it back. No, I've literally seen, bro. I remember in Maryland, the Chinese spot I always used to go to, bro. I felt so bad, bro. Dude, they would have the kids get off of school and then be in the back of the kitchen. Yo, that's actually so sad. And that shit never gets called out. I don't know. They be doing some type of loophole. And then sometimes I think they have them like, they can lie and say like there's a study area, which like they'll have a desk or something for the kids. It's like, bro, who wants to go to a restaurant, dog? After being in fucking school, like, bro, I would be so pissed. I'd be like, man, I'm trying to go home and lay in my bed. They're making them do child labor, but technically it's not classified as that. But for real, y'all think like America's like higher than child labor just because we have laws here? You'd be wrong. Do you know how many times like companies get caught using like kids and stuff like that to make food? And when I say kids, I define it as like maybe not like super young, like 8, but like 13 or something. And like I think legally in all states you can't even have a job at 13, but like 10 or 11, 12, 13, they'll do that. And if they don't get caught, they cool with that. Why ain't they hiring me, dog? You do not want to work at a fucking sweatshop. All right, at that age, bro, just go play Fortnite game.
Luxury dining. But even with restaurants
joking.
dividing
No,
into
I didn't
these
do
two
that.
extremes, the experience everywhere is becoming the exact same from the look, taste, and paying more for less. And if something isn't done, we won't just be eating worse. We will be losing one of the last things Americans can all enjoy. And in a country this divided, that might actually be the last thing we can afford to lose.
The entire slop bowl industry and the commercial real estate market are interconnected.
Corporate slop bowls, food that's
What is a slop bowl? I will say, y'all, Chipotle has like a certain corporate taste. Like nowadays, I don't even be liking to get Chipotle like that. Like I don't have it as much. Is that just me? I don't know. It's something that changed with it. Chipotle feel off exactly. Like I'd be tasting like I'd rather just like make a meal at home, like a fresh bowl. It's just unseasoned Mexican food. Bro, like if you actually go to like a Mexican spot to have a bowl there, they make it whatever. It's just like, bro, it's so much more natural. I know it is a fast food restaurant, but like I feel like it's just gotten worse. But maybe that's just me, like my taste buds not liking it. And then I just try more authentic food and it just tastes off to me. But I'm telling y'all, I'm going on the full Japan glaze trip. I'm telling y'all, bro, that's why when you go there, like so many people are shocked by the food there. That's the shit I'm supposed to be hyped for whenever I go there. Like, bro, whenever I go there, like whenever I'm going there soon, because their food standards are just higher. Oh boy. What do you mean, oh boy? It's true, bro. They have higher food standards. It's so fucking fresh. Like you taste it, bro, and you're dead ass like, what the like it's completely different.
designed to keep the body alive but kill the human soul.
Good food should belong to everybody.
El Glaze is the truth. I'm going to Japan this summer. Hey man, enjoy the food. Chapter 1 is private equity really deployed.
One of the biggest reasons I made this video is because I've been frustrated with the restaurants where I live here in Austin. It's overpriced for mediocre food, and it's easily the most overrated foodie city in the country. But as I found and as you'll see, this is a problem across America. So if that's the case, surely it's because of private equity, right? I mean, it's not far off. Private equity is buying up all your favorite restaurants, loading them up with debt, cheapening the ingredients, and firing half the staff. And they're consolidating a lot of restaurants under a few brands, like Inspire Brand, backed by private equity firm Rourke Capital, and one of the largest fast food groups in the world, owning Subway, Arby's, Baskin Robbins, just to name a few.
Like, how does one company own all of these fucking restaurants?
There's a few other big restaurant groups doing the exact same thing. So yeah, maybe it is easy to just point the finger at private equity and call it a day. But here's the thing. If incentives reveal outcomes, the last thing private equity would want to do is to make their restaurants go to shit. Sure, they make money regardless through management fees, but the real money comes from achieving growth. When 3G Capital bought a struggling Burger King after the 2008 crash, they did cut a bunch of costs, but they also helped turn the company around. It's a big reason Burger King expanded internationally, and
Damn, Burger King almost went bankrupt. I didn't even know that. Maybe it should have happened. Nah, I'm just playing. Burger King, y'all, it has been getting better. They actually have some meals that be tasting good. Yeah, because they suck, bro. But did you try like the patty melt? The patty melt they have there? Hashtag not sponsored, I'm telling you.
at the end of it, 3G Capital and its co-investors became $14 billion richer. So what I'm trying to say is that it would be disingenuous to say that private equity hasn't helped restaurants. They've been in the space now for over 2 decades, and for most of the time, it worked. Customers kept coming and sales kept growing. Which brings us back to the question, if they're so good at this, why is food only now really starting to taste like doo-doo?
They probably got to make more money. They probably found out a method. They're like, damn, the food's going to taste a little bit worse or 20% worse, but we make more money.
Well, here's the thing. The private equity playbook has always cut costs, but there's a case to be made that those cuts have finally hit a breaking point. See, in other industries, private equity can cut corners and customers have no choice but to deal with it. When they buy up houses, they use cheaper materials, but you still need a place to live.
Yo, it's crazy because I be hearing people talk about don't get a new house. Because the new house you get, bro, that shit is like a paperweight, dog. A single accident happens and the whole thing is just cooked. Like, if you really want a good house, bro, they say get one from like the 80s or something like that or older. Loki, the best type of house you could buy is like a brick house, right? If you're getting like these little wood panels and this and that, pretty easy to break. Hurricanes, yeah. Those houses in Florida that aren't built for hurricanes, like, it just really depends for real. Like, so in places like Texas and Florida, because like there's less regulations, they build more houses and shit. I think that's actually a good aspect of things because everybody wants a houses built faster so like they can get cheaper because the more supply, right? More people can get it. But then also there's times where like they just make houses, they don't check anything and then it just ends up cooked. Like they'll miss like a single, like an obvious change. Like they miss a roof shingle on the top. Somebody asks like, where's my roof shingle? And they're like, oh my bad, we forgot again. But hey, appreciate you buying the house for like $500,000. Is it crazy I don't mind a little tiny home? Bro, thank you. No, deadass, I've been thinking. Okay, it is still a decent amount, but I saw like some private homes they had here in like Austin, bro. They were selling them for like 140. Which, okay, look, that is a lot. Don't get me wrong. That is a lot. But like, you could save up to that and eventually pay that off. You could. Like a decent paying job. Bro, if you're somebody that really just wants to live alone, or maybe you even just want to buy some shit for yourself. You want to buy some shit for yourself for now, and then like, let's say like 15 years in the future, you want to have a wife and kids, then like you sell that one or just like buy your own. Like, it's not a bad idea. So hold on, let me search up tiny homes. Okay, would y'all live in this? Yeah, something like this. This is 135,000. Yeah, this is not bad at all. This 100%, like I would not mind getting it like temporarily. Or if I knew I was gonna live alone, just by myself, I wouldn't mind getting something like this. I might buy one in the future. Y'all, I have a feeling, bro, Gen Z's gonna buy a lot of these shits. And millennials, because first off, a regular house, nobody's affording a new regular house. That shit is cooked. Yeah, it wouldn't be bad for a starter home, I feel like. And look at this top area, dog. Bro, look how much space you have in this top area. You know how much shit you could do? Bro, you could have a streaming space if you want, a gaming space, and you have your own room at the bottom. Nah, that's not bad at all.
When they buy retail stores, they replace workers with kiosks, and most customers tolerate it, sometimes even prefer it. But restaurants are different. You need people to cook, you need people to serve, and when you start slashing staff, shrinking portions, swapping fresh ingredients for frozen ones, and refuse to invest in anything long-term, customers notice. And unlike housing where supply is limited, restaurants are everywhere. There's a new spot opening on every corner, so when diners are—
Yo, y'all know the worst shit? A fucking virtual brand, like a fake store. I used to get tricked by that before I even found out what they were. Dog, all they do, y'all, is literally, they take like the average restaurant, like you could have an IHOP or something, and then they'll open a new burger store, and then they'll charge like, let's say IHOP is charging like $10 for a burger, they'll charge like $20 in that new one. And they'll call it like Bunny's Amazing Burgers. It's just a complete scam. And now they're required to tell you, like on DoorDash, they tell you if it's a fake brand, a virtual brand. Because sometimes where I would order that shit thinking it's a real brand, like a new restaurant, I'm like, all right, bet. And it turns out it was just some fucking fake restaurant.
paying more for smaller portions and worse food, they have choice. But as you'll see later, even that choice is becoming limited. So point is, private equity isn't blameless, and now it's starting to backfire after years of running restaurants with spreadsheets, not taste. But at the end of the—
I mean, the problem is they're trying to get an investment too. If you're trying to get an investment, bro, I don't know, they don't make their money in a certain time, they're gonna start asking. Usually the downfall, like every company. The investors start asking for bread, and then you gotta start just adding dumb shit.
private equity still only accounts for 10% of restaurants. So if we're seeing this across almost all restaurants, then who is to blame for this sudden decline? Turns out it's not those who's buying the restaurants, it's who's feeding them.
The true villains behind why restaurants.
Because behind almost every restaurant, be it a chain or your local bistro, there's the same small group of giant distributors supplying them all. And once you realize this, you'll see you never really had choice to begin with. For most of the 20th century, restaurants bought their ingredients from local suppliers, butchers, bakers, and other small distributors. But today, that model has quietly been replaced by these broadline distributors. A broadliner is kind of like a Costco for restaurants. One company that can sell you everything you need to run a food business, from meat, produce, canned goods, napkins, cleaning supplies, pre-made desserts, even the
Yo, not the pre-made dessert. Whole ass carrot cakes. Yo, now I can never order a carrot cake from a restaurant. I think that's why usually places that sell fresh cakes, they tell you like, yeah, we make them here. Because you could always get like a fake one or buy them. Ew, MF's like carrot cake? I'm MF's. I don't like carrot cake? What? Y'all tweaking. Cheesecake better? Well, of course. But like carrot cake is good.
desserts, even the
Yo, stop hating on me.
containers.
When you say you hate carrot cake, you say you hate me.
Cisco. Founded in 1969, Cisco didn't just grow organically, but by merging 9 smaller distributors into the first true national food service supplier. Over the decades, Cisco has acquired well over 150 smaller companies and rolled them into its empire, where now only 2 competitors like US Foods and Performance Food Group remain. And these companies form such a monopoly that Cisco and US Foods are estimated to control 75% of the food distribution market.
What? I did not know that. It's actually so crazy. Maybe that's why food trucks trend and stuff. Well, I guess a food truck could always get this, but like I'll have a couple of food trucks and the food do be tasting different sometimes. Like it be tasting good. And I'm like, damn, this is unique. Because maybe they just have unique ways of putting the pre-made food together.
Market serving not just 450,000 restaurants, but also 200,000 more hotels, hospitals, schools, and—
But it depends. Let's say they have 150 companies in there that they took or whatever. Are they all still doing different types of shit? Because if they're still doing different types of shit, then it could still be like like a difference of things, or is it just like a one slate? If it's one slate of shit, then it's probably ass.
Prisons. So if I had to bet a lot of money, we've all tasted Cisco food without you even knowing it. The question becomes, why are restaurants even going along with this? It's because Cisco knows who they're selling
They're
to
trying to
a
make
key,
money.
and it's because they helped create the conditions around it. Look, running a restaurant is brutal business. The margins are notoriously low. Even
Restaurant profit margins are between 2 to 6%. So why would you even open a restaurant? Actually, no, most people open a restaurant because they like making food, but Jesus. Yo, 2%? I'd rather just be a dickhead. Just go into stocks or something. I don't know, be a real asshole. Things that restaurants buy from these wholesale areas because they can buy in bulk and at cheaper cost compared to local stuff. My dad uses both for his restaurants that packaging mostly from the wholesale, press stuff elsewhere. Yeah, if you mix it, it's probably fine.
at the best of times. And in a recent survey, 9 out of 10 operators said that labor costs are a big challenge, and a lot of restaurants struggle to find staff to meet that demand. So if only there was a pre-prepped everything that not only saves money, but also saves time for the existing staff that's already overworked and often underpaid, especially if that restaurant is owned by private equity. And that's exactly what Cisco provides, because they're not just supplying ingredients, they're buying pre-baked bread, sauces, desserts, and even that expensive steak that you might have just
Yo, steak? Bruh, say you swear when I go to a fucking restaurant, the steak is pre-made. Nah, I'd be damned. Yo, there's no way they're doing this at like specific steak restaurants. If you go to like a fancy steak restaurant, I swear, if these niggas is just buying this pre-made, I'm be pissed.
ordered might be one of their pre-grilled
Wow.
steak strips. But as I mentioned, the bigger underlying reason
Longhorns
is that
at
these
Texas
restaurants
Roadhouse?
are
Damn.
going with a Cisco isn't because they just want to, but because of the immense power that they hold. And because of that power, they can raise prices at a whim, have later damaged deliveries or ingredient swaps, and especially small restaurants in rural areas don't really have any negotiating power because they don't really have any other choice. And that monopoly that they pretty much hold almost became even more powerful in 2015. Cisco tried to merge with US Foods, but that deal was blocked by the FTC after they found that they would have controlled 75% of the national.
Yo, imagine they did it. It probably would be like 90% now, dude. Yo, I guarantee they could do it right now, slip Trump like a couple M's, and that nigga going to approve it. When was this, 2015? They're gonna be like, yeah, we're trying to do this now. We're gonna own like 99% of the food around America, but we're not a monopoly. Here's like $10 million.
Market. But even just a few months ago, another merger was attempted between US Foods and this time with Performance Food to create the largest food distributor in the US, but they actually ultimately scrapped talks due to similar antitrust concerns just this November. But
Yeah, they probably get the easiest lawsuit of all time thrown at them.
with failed mergers, it hasn't stopped them from expanding to more restaurants. Because if you thought that this only applies to fast food joints, think again. Even in fine dining restaurants, there's a growing demand for pre-cut, pre-washed, and pre-prepped items.
My question is, how much does this cost then? Chicken breast skewer lemongrass halal? Nigga, they even make halal shit? Man, what the f? What can I eat? No, not meatballs. Well, I mean, I believe meatballs. I just need to know how much they cost though. Bro, imagine these steaks cost like 15 bucks and you have a high-end restaurant that sells it for like 70.
And it's exactly why menus across the nation are all starting to look the same, no matter what price point and where you eat. So whether it's a hole in the wall or a fancy restaurant downtown, in many ways, they're all doing this because it's now one of
I
the
don't know if that's true though. I feel like I see a variety. I mean, if you're going to like steak restaurants, then you got to expect the menus to look like similar or like pasta. Maybe some little things are different. I feel like I still see a variety of things.
only choices, and it becomes a necessity to keep up with the rising costs of everything. So yeah, private equity is partly to blame, but these food distributors are the one who has created this ingredient monoculture, where the inputs are the same, then the output starts to taste the same, and the only difference now is the restaurant sign and their interior designs. But even that's about to change. Because an unusual
See, that's why fast food's on top. Fast food always tastes different. That's low-key not wrong though. Like McDonald's fries and Burger King fries and Wendy's fries, they completely taste different. They do not taste the same. Taco Bell tastes completely different. For real, Cane's on top. Okay, ignoring the unnecessary glaze for Cane's. Cane's is ass. Cane's does taste different though. It doesn't taste the same as like other chicken tenders you get from Popeyes or KFC. Because they make everything in their own factories. They're not getting shit from these factories or whatever. At least like their like main things. Like if it's McDonald's, they have like their own factories to make shit.
paradox is forming where things
A lot of restaurants I see around Manhattan are like this, and there are some that are genuine. If you see some NPC type style and interior design and menus, you could tell. Yeah, that's why you go on TikTok. People on TikTok will tell you the truth. You search up best fucking restaurant, they gonna tell you the truth.
They're becoming extreme, but also the same.
How the industry split in two but ended up the same.
Just like the middle class in the US is disappearing, so are the mid-tier restaurants. And what we're left with are increasingly polar opposites between low-tier fast food and high-end luxury dining. As you can guess, a lot of it is driven by inflation and economic uncertainties, as eating out is becoming more of a luxury for some families, and these people are choosing the extremes for that reason. Instead of going to that local restaurant with mid-tier prices, they may just trade down by grabbing a fast food burger here and there, or if they decide to eat out, treat it as a special occasion to go big on a fancy dish.
TikTok, yeah, right, bro? What? As soon as I landed in Japan, I immediately went on there talking about the best restaurants here, this and that. Y'all not do that, bro? When you go to a new city, y'all don't go on TikTok and see like what people are talking about? There's no way. Okay, yeah, some of y'all don't got the best this, bro. That is literally the method to find the best food around. Fuck no, dog, they be lying. Yeah, I don't know where you're looking, but you gotta look right. I mean, you can't just look at one video and take somebody's word. Like, you look at multiple videos, see what people are saying, and then people are saying it's good. As to local, in fact, locals always tell you not to trust those videos you see online. Well, what if the locals are on TikTok?
So due to this, the social experience of dining is changing to be either utilitarian or luxury, and those mid-tier restaurants that are mostly mom and pop restaurants and that don't have centralized prep kitchens, bulk purchasing contracts, or Wall Street money are increasingly getting squeezed from both sides. Once they're out, the landlords wants to replace them with reliable tenants, so franchises are swooping in to take their place. And nothing encapsulates this better than corporate slop bowls. The food that's designed to keep the body alive.
Is it supposed to do this? I don't know, actually. You know what's crazy, y'all? Chipotle looks a lot more healthier than it actually is on average. Whenever people get a Chipotle bowl, they're thinking like, oh, it's healthy, right? It's more healthier instead of like a fast food burger. Bro, sometimes you could genuinely get a meal from McDonald's that's like way less calories. Like, if you get a Chipotle bowl, let's say like rice, chicken, sour cream, that's gonna add up to like 950, maybe 1,000 calories, bro. Sometimes you can get a, I don't know, like a big double at McDonald's with medium fries and drink, and that would be less calories with like a diet drink. Let me say that. The only reason it's not healthy is when they overload it with sour cream and cheese. Yeah.
Alive, but kill the
We can
human
agree
soul.
that this shit is
The
better than
bland,
UK
beige,
food.
sad mush
Yeah, true.
of chicken, quinoa, and lettuce designed to be eaten fast and efficiently during your 15-minute lunch break before you go back to your cubicle and your Excel spreadsheets. Kava, Sweetgreen, Chipotle, they've colonized every financial district, occupying the exact real
Oh my god, it's like a block, dude. What the fuck?
estate that used to belong to actual restaurants. And you know who has a significant ownership stake in all three? That's right, it's BlackRock and Vanguard, the very same asset management companies.
Do these companies just own our life? Like, if these companies disappeared, is everything just gone in our life? Yeah, we got no more computers. You just walk out and see random restaurants disappear.
Wage slaves rely on these bowls for sustenance. And here's the thing, these slot bowls were supposed to be the cheap option, but even this budget, fast casual food has become overpriced. And Chipotle is probably the worst example, raising their prices 6 times since 2021.
6 times is absurd, bro. And they'll say it's for inflation or some shit. No, it's not, nigga. Because they get an inflation chart, what, probably like every year? Or maybe every quarter, like 6 times, bro. If it was every year, I'd understand. 6 times, that means they did it like at least 2 more extra times.
Can you believe
No
it
excuse.
used to cost
Oh my god, yo, whenever I see this, bro, I cry inside. $6.45 per fucking bowl, bro. What happened? We were once a country, man.
only this? And as every city continues to get divided in these two extremes, an interesting thing is happening where even the extremes are starting to look the same. Because the absence of these mid-tier restaurants created a vacuum, and investors
We were in a
rushed
peak
in
state.
not to fund creative food, but to fund concepts. This is why every new American restaurant in the country suddenly has exposed brick, light bulbs hanging
We are young. There's a fire in our soul. And this is the truth behind the meme, I guess. I never even thought of that. I thought it was just kind of a thing that became a thing. Like a couple restaurants opened that did this, and then it became a common thing. I guess we know why.
from the ceiling.
2 guys in a dream. In our fun college days, we decided to come together.
Hard as f metal chairs where you can't sit for more than 30 minutes, and some corny live, love, laugh sign in the restaurant, all to eat a $24 burger. So why do you think I hate Austin food so much? It's because it's full of these soulless restaurants like this.
I've never, I mean, at least me living here, I've never seen one of these. Or maybe I've never been into one.
But the thing is, it's not an accident. It's happening everywhere. I think you all know this, but the restaurant business is a cutthroat business, and investors don't want creativity. They want provable, scalable concepts so their restaurant doesn't go under in 5 years. But what this has created now, though, is chefs that actually want to create authentic, innovative restaurants have a lot harder time breaking through to investors or customers. And with the rise of delivery apps, it's further resulting in trading authentic food for convenience. With delivery apps taking 15 to 30% of every order, restaurants—
Bro, like that's just so insane, those margins. That's why, like, yo, I didn't even know this. Oh my god, I forgot who pointed it out. I think Solid did. He told me, he was like, bro, don't even order pickup on DoorDash. I was like, why? He was like, dude, you know they increased the prices by like 20%. I was like, huh? And I checked it and it was true. It was actually way worse. There was like this one item that was boosted by like $4. It was normally like $4 under, but on DoorDash it was $4. I was like, what the
to redesign menus around stuff that travels well in a DoorDash box. So nothing delicate, nothing fragile, just wings, burgers, fries, and slop bowls. Anything you can make in bulk, box cheaply, and later stuff in a microwave. You can see now how we've ended up in this kind of culinary horseshoe, where the low tier and the high end restaurants are slowly bending towards each other, melting into one giant slop bowl of this unseasoned mix of identical corporate investors, suppliers, and templated concepts. And America's restaurant landscape is starting to look like the country itself, split into two extremes with nothing in the middle. But what no one has talked about is how this vicious cycle goes way beyond restaurants. It's actually a larger commentary of something bigger happening in American culture.
The convenience trap.
Because I think you can
Uber Eats literally robbed money from my father's restaurant. They suck for real.
all agree that
It's crazy because y'all, Uber has such a monopoly on like taxis and shit. I feel like it's talked about more now, but Uber scams the fuck out of their drivers. Dog, there's a reason why like a lot of people have to tip drivers, bro. Uber will make, let's say, like $30 on an order or whatever, and dog, they'll pay the driver maybe like $10. Maybe less than that for real, it depends. And then, yeah, my brother was telling me about it, right? Because he was working Uber for a while, and he was like, bro, they really just like you over, bro. You could pay like $100 trip, and they may, if they're being nice to like an employee or whatever person work there, they'll give them like $20 for the trip. That's why downtown cab companies are better. I mean, yeah, for actually like the business or the employees, it's way better. But I know there's like new companies. There's new companies that are releasing that are trying to compete with Uber that are like being nicer, at least to people there. But I feel like eventually, if they do get bigger than Uber, they're just gonna be a scummy. Like, kind of always happens with a lot of companies.
eating food isn't just about getting fed. It's a ritual that everyone can share. But when
Uber
all
Eats
that is
makes
being
someone drive to
abandoned for
Antarctica and
this
they get
pursuit
paid
of
20.
endless convenience and efficiency, the consequence will be losing something far more important in the process. And if something isn't done, there will be no shared experiences left. Because even if you are one of those people that only eat food for subsistence, you can't deny that forever that family-owned diner was one of the few third places that the
I
community
feel like that's why people kind of with like places like Waffle House or places that make shit like fresh, or like small stores that make stuff, because it's just fresh. Like, you know, they're making it fresh. That's why.
didn't just go for special occasions, but places where you can just go to. I mean, think about how many movies in the 90s and early 2000s used diners, coffee shops, and little cafes as their backdrop. And even if the country was indeed as divided as it is right now, restaurants like that were a small glue where people could just exist with other people. But as more and more—
Yeah, all the diners are completely dead. Like, small diners. I mean, we basically got like IHOP that took over that. IHOP and Denny's. Is Blaze Pizza real pizza or some BS? Yeah, I worked there. We had a real dough in everything we made. I think they made it in like their own factory. It wasn't like taken from Cisco or whatever. It wasn't bad though. I got tired of the taste though. I did ask, like, I can't even eat it anymore because like I worked there for like, I don't know, like 6 to 8 months. Bro, I got tired of the taste because I was just eating that shit every night.
for those restaurants struggle or close or resort to cutting corners with a Cisco in order to stay alive, we're losing that culture and connection. And as more competition is eliminated with consolidation, it looks like it might get even worse as you continue to pay more for less. And yeah, it's tempting to just blame corporations or private equity or the system, but here's the uncomfortable truth. Somewhere along the way, we've all quietly accepted this. We've normalized mediocrity. From airlines that actually used to be nice, housing that was a core component of the American dream, and entertainment like I talked about in my piracy video, and on and on. So we can blame all those entities all we want, and we would be justified in that, but we've also are the ones who normalize media.
What's something that's like isn't corporatized right now that people enjoy? Actually, there's nothing. No, actually, there's literally nothing now that I think of it.
Mediocrity in exchange for convenience. But there is hope. A lot of millennials and Gen Z are
Tommy
looking
NFG,
at
thank
corporate
you.
slop bowls and realizing that they're only paying for branding and some form of nostalgia, and it's not just worth it. The slop companies are taking the hit. Sweet Green stock is down almost 90% after their IPO, and Cabo and Chipotle
90%. What the f happened? In 1 year? You think this is people getting tired of it or more people not caring that it's a trend? A lot of these new companies that pop up, like Crumble Cookie, for example, is cooked. Y'all remember Crumble Cookie? Yo, ain't nobody talking about that shit anymore. Because first off, Crumble Cookie was not sustainable because the cookies are just so fucking unhealthy. Bro, you get a box of 3 cookies there. Each cookie is about 1,000 something calories. The daily average calories somebody's supposed to have is 2,000 calories, and it varies. But like, bro, like it's just not sustainable for your lifestyle to have that. And they expensive as too exactly. It only trends for real because like they release new cookies weekly. If it was like a normal cookie store and those normal cookies, nobody would be going. It would have never became a thing.
is down almost 90% after their
120%
IPO,
daily
and
value
Cabo
of
and
sugar, by the
Chipotle is
way.
tremendously down from their previous highs. Because surprise, surprise,
I also think this is more people broke too and not being able to afford it.
people don't want to pay $17 for some
Yeah.
soulless mush. And so here's some hope
Like
I
if they still sold them for like $6, they'd be doing very well.
can leave you. Unlike housing or airlines where you're stuck with limited options, food is one area where you actually have a choice. Look, you can keep ordering the slop bowl, or you can pay a few dollars more for that local spot that's actually trying to maintain one of the last things we can all enjoy. And I know what you're thinking, it's just dinner, it's not that deep. But that's where you're wrong. The more you choose convenience and accept the mediocrity that comes with it, the more you're voting for the kind of culture you want to keep alive. So there's a lot
Good, I'm keeping mediocrity alive. No, I'm just playing. That was a good video. How would you even check if a company uses that? You wouldn't even be able to, bro. Yeah, man. If you're watching on a 2, make sure you're on the Discord and watch the streams.
Subscribe to Tommy NFG.